Hey, what's up guys, MKBHD here. So there are a lot of phones competing for your money this holiday season, and there are three pretty major contenders here: the Samsung Galaxy Nexus, the Samsung Galaxy S3, and the LG Nexus 4. They all have slightly different displays, designs, and materials. They all come in at slightly different price points and are all available on different carriers. So they're basically very different devices in a lot of ways, but yet there is a lot similar between them as well. So this video is geared to help you make your decision. Which one will you pick? Let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so the first thing we're going to start off this comparison with the Nexus 4 here on the right hand side is with none other than its older brother, the Galaxy Nexus. So you can kind of see sort of an evolution of the Nexus design here. But we're going to go ahead and start off on the outside of these devices with the hardware. And this is a comparison for those of you who are considering maybe upgrading from the Galaxy Nexus to the Nexus 4. You get the 5 megapixel camera on the Galaxy Nexus and an 8 megapixel on the Nexus 4, and this is definitely an upgrade. You can definitely see a difference in image quality. I would compare the Nexus 4 to something like the Galaxy S3 in terms of image quality, so it's pretty much up there with the best of the 8 megapixel smartphone sensors. Down at the bottom here, you also have a bit of a speaker change. You have a very small speaker on the Galaxy Nexus, and you have a slot speaker on the Nexus 4, but I gotta be honest, neither of these speakers is particularly good, especially for watching videos or particularly gaming. Media isn't very high quality. It's very loud on the new Nexus, but it's definitely going to be a little bit tinnier. The Galaxy Nexus has a removable plastic back, so you can access the smaller battery, but it's removable, and there's external storage. With the new Nexus, it is sealed in. You get a glass back, and you guys already know that there's only an 8GB or 16GB model, so you have no expandable storage with the Nexus 4. You can see here they're both running Android 4.2 Jelly Bean, and I guess to make that more obvious, we'll go into the quick settings here. And you have all the same controls on either device. There's no difference here. You're going to get the same very timely updates. With the LTE Galaxy Nexus, you won't get quite as fast updates. You have to wait for Verizon to push them, but you still get very fast updates from the GSM version of both of these Nexuses. The displays, you'll notice, are a little bit different. There's a Super AMOLED display on the Samsung Galaxy Nexus from Samsung, and LG uses an IPS display. And there are some real differences here, especially in the contrast levels and brightness levels. On the Galaxy Nexus, you're going to get higher contrast, much blacker notification bar, deeper blacks, higher contrast, and overall much punchier colors. And you'll notice that if you have a black wallpaper, it just doesn't even light the pixels up. It is completely black down here with the software buttons here. So it looks like almost part of the bezel, which is really cool. It doesn't look bad on the Galaxy or on the new Nexus 4, but you'll do note that it's not perfectly pitch black, even though the blacks are pretty deep. I won't complain about the blacks, but contrast levels aren't quite as insane as they are on the Samsung device. That being said, if you take a look at the brightness, this device gets a lot brighter than the Galaxy Nexus. When we pump up the volume all the way up here, it gets super, super bright, and that's really nice for reading outdoors and just general usage in higher bright lit environments. So if you're checking out a phone and you've had trouble reading AMOLED displays outdoors, or if you're concerned with the slightly bluish tint that you might find on a phone like this, you might want to consider going with the IPS display. Now, they are very similarly priced, but you'll notice in terms of experience, they have very different internals. The new Nexus 4 here on the right has a Snapdragon S4 Pro, while the one on the left is a 1.2 gigahertz dual core. This is a quad core processor, and I'm going to be totally honest, this is the fastest, snappiest Android experience of any phone I have ever used. If you haven't already seen my full review of it, of course that link is down below the like button on this video. I am a big fan of the speed of this phone. It has 2 gigs of RAM, it has high quality graphics, quad core processor at 1.4 gigahertz, 1.5. It is the highest end chip you can buy, and that's going to get you the fastest performance. You're going to be able to game really easily. It handles everything all around like a boss with acceptable battery life. On the Galaxy Nexus, I'm not going to say this is a slow phone by any means, because with Project Butter, this phone got a lot faster on Android 4.2. So frame rates are still very high, but they're obviously not quite as snappy as the new Nexus 4. I'll put it that way. You can also see the extra row of icons. But basically, it is still a solid experience, and it's definitely a phone you could probably get away with using for the next year. Again, battery life is acceptable, not the best, but it's definitely pretty high up there. You're not going to get the most insane battery life out of the Nexus 4, despite its lack of LTE, and that's probably the biggest difference between these two particular phones I'm holding here, the Verizon Galaxy Nexus versus the LTE or non-LTE Nexus 4. You're gonna get some differences in terms of speed here. I'm not saying HSPA Plus is slow, but you're gonna get lower AT&T or T-Mobile data speeds versus Verizon. So if you're thinking about ending your Verizon contract, think about what you do on your phone. Do you do a lot of web browsing? Do you do a lot of video watching? Things that require a lot of data? If so, you might wanna stick with a Verizon phone like the Galaxy Nexus. But if you don't, maybe you just do a lot of social networking, maybe Twitter a lot, or maybe Google Plus a lot, share a lot of photos. Maybe you don't use the most data ever, or you're not too concerned about your data streaming speeds. The HSPA Plus on the Nexus 4 will probably do pretty well. So as promised, the second phone that we're going to be comparing the Nexus 4 to is the Samsung Galaxy S3, which is a very popular device right now. And right off the bat, you see a difference in device size, so the footprint of the Galaxy S3 is a little bit taller, and it is just a little bit wider, just a hair, but it's not that noticeable. Where you do notice the difference is the thinness. So when comparing these side by side, the Galaxy S3 is a little bit thinner. It's a little bit more round as well. But basically, the main difference between these two devices is, again, this device has LTE on Verizon if you want it. This device does not have LTE. This device on the left here, the Galaxy S3, has a plastic removable back. And that's going to get you, again, access to the battery and access to additional storage if you want it. The camera's on the back now, though, and a lot of the other hardware of the Galaxy S3 is higher priced, but it's upgraded to match the Nexus 4. So you get a dual-core processor in the United States. If you want international, you get a quad-core Galaxy S3. You also get an 8-megapixel camera on both these guys, and turning them around, the speaker, again, is comparable. This one's a little bit louder on the Galaxy S3. Again, the slot speaker on the Nexus isn't the best. But you also have the notification bar on both these devices. It's at the bottom on the Nexus, and it's at the top on the Galaxy S3. There is also a hardware button on the Galaxy S3. Some people might like that, some people might not. But you gotta know that this is not a Nexus device out the box. So when you buy a Galaxy S3, you're gonna be getting TouchWiz, and you're going to be getting slower updates to Android. So if that's important to you, you might want to go with a Nexus, one of the two Nexuses, or if they're not as important to you, you can probably go with TouchWiz on top of this Galaxy S3. There's an AMOLED display on the left and an IPS display on the right. And again, the deep blacks look insanely good on the Galaxy S3's display, and they don't look quite as black on the LG Nexus 4's IPS display, but again, it's not all that bad. This is also one of the fastest Android phones out there right now. It's not running stock Android out the box, but in the end, this you can do something called root and end up making this a little bit nicer than the Nexus 4, and I'll explain to you. Basically, in a Super Nexus video that I did not too long ago, that link is down below in the description, you can root this phone and put stock Android on it. So you can run almost the exact same software as running on the Nexus 4, and you'll get all the benefits of that AMOLED display, of that larger display, of that nice camera, of that removable back. You'll get basically an upgraded Nexus 4, but that's if you're willing to go through the software process. But basically, if you're comparing it to the Galaxy S3, you can compare this to basically any of the other high-end phones on the market. So that applies to the HTC One X, that applies to the Galaxy Note 2, maybe not the other sealed back phones, but you get the advantage of having up-to-date hardware, and if you root, you can have up-to-date software. But that's basically it for the head-to-heads with these two devices. If you're interested, you can check out more information in the description. I'll have links to other helpful videos and things to help you guys out. But that's basically it. This is the Nexus 4, the Galaxy S3, and we took a look at the Galaxy Nexus, and of course the high-end phones are battling for your money this holiday season. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to +1 or give a thumbs up down below. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe, as there are many more on their way. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.